When you want your heating and cooling done right the first time, you need to call Norris Lake's Do It Right Specialist. It's Complete Comfort Heating and Cooling.
I am just a phone call away.
I am focused on getting the job done right the first time.
I am committed to treating your home like my own.
I'm dedicated to keeping your summers cool and your winters cozy.
We are your Norris Lake Do It Right Specialist.
606-248-5665.
Hi, I'm Jim Fortner, owner of Fortner's Home Connection. We're your hometown source for appliances, bedding, furniture, recliners, and lift chairs, with all the brand names you could ever hope for and prices you will not believe. Come out and see us at Fortner's Home Connection, 2801 U.S. Highway 25 across from Casey's in the old Sears building. Come on and let me give you the red carpet treatment that you should be getting already. Come see me at Fortner's Home Connection.
And good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen. Brian O'Brien on 106.3 FM. This is the second debate. This is the Claiborne County Sheriff's Debate. Claiborne County Sheriff's Debate. We have three individuals who will be seated here momentarily. They are appearing as they appear on the ballot. Again, they are appearing at the table as they appear on the ballot. So we're going to bring up first and foremost Mr. Michael Cappins. And if you bring them more welcome to. Next is Mr. Stephen Hurley. And finally, Mr. Tim Shroud. And I want to thank the Mayor for getting the signs made up and for allowing me to hold this debate here. We appreciate the opportunity for some civil discourse. All right. Are any of you going to need your pens, you think, or are you just going to wing it? Can I borrow your pen?
I like to wing it.
All right. All right. Took off and left the pen where it didn't belong. All right. So, Mr. Cappins, what number were you chosen? Which was not 4.
1.
Number 1. All right. So you will go first. Mr. Hurley?
2.
2. And I'm guessing that you were number 3.
Exactly.
All right. This is going to be the easy part. All right. So you have 2 minutes to introduce yourself to the audience. What I'll do is each person who gets an opportunity to answer, you're not going to answer in the same order every single time. That way, as I said earlier, you're not going to echo anybody else's answer. They will be your answers, and you can take it from there. So, Mr. Cappins, thank you for being here. You have 2 minutes to introduce yourself to the audience at home and all these fine folks here.
Well, thank you, Brian, and thank you for the ones that come out tonight to listen to this, and the ones of you that are viewing online. But it's already been said, I'm Michael Cappins. I'm a lifelong resident here of Claiborne County. Pam and I, my wife, we built our family here, and we're proud to call this county home. But my law enforcement career path may look a little different than others. Before the badge, I owned a small logging company here in Claiborne County, where I learned how to manage people and make payroll at the same time. With that being said, I'm a 2007 graduate of Lincoln Memorial University. Later on that year, I successfully completed the Washington State Basic Police Academy in Greenville, and then I was hired on by the town of Tazewell in their patrol division, where I served in that role for a couple of years. And in 2010, I was hired on by the state of Tennessee under the umbrella of the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency as the game warden, and that's where I'm proud to say that I'm currently occupying that job.
Thank you, Mr. Cappins. Mr. Hurley, you have 2 minutes.
Hello, my name is Stephen Hurley, and I'm also a county sheriff here. I would also like to thank those that are in attendance here in the diocese and also those online. Thank you for caring enough to take part in this. I think it's very important to be as knowledgeable about what's going on in our county as possible. With that being said, I am a lifelong resident here of Claiborne County. I grew up in a Lonesome Valley community. Graduated from Claiborne High School back in 1996. Attended the police academy as a student in 2000. What that means is I didn't actually have a job in law enforcement, but I had the interest. I really wanted to become a law enforcement officer. Got hired on in 2000 and worked work in the jail that was upstairs here at the courthouse. That was a very good indoctrination into what law enforcement was, because we had a 33-bed jail. And on weekends, we'd have up to 80 people in that jail. So I definitely learned management skills very quickly in my law enforcement career. A little touch on my personal life. I'm married to my wife, Morgan WRIL-FM. We have been married 26 years. We have a daughter who is a senior at Cumberland Gap High School. Very thankful for them, the support they showed me through this campaign. I'm really looking forward to this debate and hoping that those undecided voters will have a better view on who could be our next sheriff. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hurley. Mr. Strout, how are you?
Great. Thank you, Brian. My name is Tim Strout. Currently, I work at the Claiborne County Sheriff's Office. I graduated high school in Laurel County, Kentucky. Moved here in 2000. I am what you would call a transplant, but this is my home. I appreciate the people here. I have worked diligently over the last 20 years to assist with law enforcement here. Started my career again above this facility at the old jail. Currently as the jail administrator, the budgeting process can be tough at times. Managing is also stressful, and the job itself is stressful, folks. This is not an easy task, and I commend both of these gentlemen for also running for sheriff. As we all know, that it's not an easy task, and it's something that I hope that everyone here tonight can get some answers that they're looking for. During this debate, some questions are going to be asked. The experience is going to play a part, and I thank each and everyone here and everyone at home that is listening as well. Thank you all.
All right, before we get started, can I get you gentlemen to bring your mics a little closer to you? That'll cut down on a little bit of the feedback. Okay. According to the State Comptroller's Office, the responsibilities of the sheriff are law enforcement. Deputies patrol the county roads, respond to emergency calls, and investigate local crimes. Jail management. The Sheriff's Department operates the county jail. They manage and protect the people who are kept there. Court security. Deputies protect local judges, secure the courthouse, and keep court trials safe. And transport services. Deputies drive prisoners between the jail and the court hearings safely. Those are the duties of the jailer. So, starting off, since Mr. Cavins introduced himself first, we're going to move to Mr. Hurley. Name 2 things you would like to see changed about the Sheriff's Department. You have 2 minutes.
The number one thing I'd like to see change at the Sheriff's Office is the culture inside that agency. I want to increase morale. One of the ways that I plan to do that is to actually set up and appreciate the officers for the things that they do. Maybe something along the lines of having an officer of the month. Just encourage them to do a good job while they're out there serving our community. One of the other things I would like to do is really concentrate on the narcotics issues that we have here in Claiborne County. I think that's been one of the things that's kind of slacked off here lately. We need these drug dealers to move somewhere else. And as Sheriff, I promise to you that our narcotics division is going to be successful. We are going to keep doors in, and we're going to move some of these drug dealers out of Claiborne County. As a SWAT team leader, when I was employed at the Sheriff's Office earlier in my career, I was a leader for about 10 years, and that was my favorite thing to do, was to execute those narcotic search warrants and to get that poison out of our community. Are we going to be able to win it? No, but we want to make it so uncomfortable on these drug dealers that they find somewhere else to go.
Thank you, sir.
And also, if I could, one of the things you said that I don't think you mentioned is the service of civil process is also a duty of the Sheriff of Tennessee.
Yes, thank you very much.
That's important also.
Mr. Schraub, name 2 things you would like to see changed about the Sheriff's Department.
I would like to, as well, focus hard on the narcotics. We have a huge issue in our county, as everyone knows, with drugs. It's not only effective to the individuals using those, it's also affecting the families. Now, we see that time and time again within our facility with those that come into jail and the grandparents raising children and so forth. Again, this is an issue that I tend to take very serious. I have plans for that. I do want to execute thoroughly. I want to execute search warrants. I want to work with our partners, with the DA's office, and also our federal partners with MOUs to get us back on track with the communication that we need to effectively make this happen. And we also need to get people looked at federally as well. That is something that I've done for a while with the sheriff's office. I think it's very effective when you can take someone federally versus stateside. You get a significant amount of time and a greater sentence in getting rid of those people out of our county and getting that poison out of here.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Cavins, name 2 things you would like to see changed about the sheriff's department / office.
Yeah, well, I may be a little bit confused on the question. Is the challenges that we're facing here in the county or inside the department?
Inside the department itself.
Okay, well, one thing that I'd like to do would be implement an Office of Community Relations, where you can come in and you can express your concerns or questions if it's even an officer complaint, and I'm real big on outreach and information with my job, being in our school systems and being connected to our kids in these classes and their wildlife classes and stuff. So if you wanted our outreach program, I know that the K9 guys have come on board here in the last couple of weeks, but they've been out in our schools. You would come in there and you would just call. Instead of calling the officer, you would call that office and you would schedule that. We want them to come to this event. We want them to come to our churches. We want them to come to any organization or wherever they would need to be visible in the community. The other thing I'd like to do is our website. It looks like something from about 1980. So we would need to update that website and disseminate the information to provide to the public who this office actually serves, the number of miles we patrolled, the gallons of gas we burned, the number of reports we're taking, how many arrests we take, how many people in the jail at the time. There's all kinds of stuff that we can put on that website, even resources for mental health, the hotlines, the Tennessee Crime Stoppers can be on that. Tennessee Valley Crime Stoppers to report an anonymous tip. So there's a lot of good things that can go on with that website once it's elected.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. All right, first question, number 2, goes to Mr. Shrout. How would you direct your deputies regarding arrests of those charged, even if the jail is crowded or full? Would you want them to put them in the facility or just to cite them?
That's a very good question. So depending on the charge itself, whether you would want to cite someone in the court, being crowded in the facility is something that I have managed and faced for the last 4 years as jail administrator. I'm very proud to say that I help the taxpayers by keeping those numbers down. When I first took over 4 years ago, the numbers were over 200 on the inmates. I like to be around 160 to 180. We are maxed to house 212. So depending on the charge, we have room at our facility and have for a while. And I'm pleased to say that. So as far as a citation, it should be based on the charge itself and the severity of the crime.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Cavins, how would you direct your deputies regarding arrest of those charged, even if the jail is crowded or full? Would you want to jail them or just cite them?
Well, I don't know that if you would need to direct that to the deputy or not. I think if you had implement a pre-plan with the judge and the district attorney on who could possibly be released, we wouldn't see that issue arise within our jail and create a crisis inside that. So I think a little bit of pre-planning beforehand could create something that wouldn't be good inside our jail.
Okay. Mr. Hurley, how would you direct your deputies regarding arrest of those charged, even if the jail is crowded or full? Would you want to jail them or just cite them?
It would be dependent upon the charge. There are certain statutes that require someone to be housed. For example, a domestic violence charge, there's a statute that states that person has to be housed for a minimum of 12 hours. That gives your victim time to get to a safe environment. So based upon the charge, that would be something that would have to be taken in on an individual basis. But if you manage your jail effective enough and keep the numbers low with the help of a district attorney, with our judge, our police staff, who in the past has done a really good job of that. When I worked there in the past, we had serious overcrowding issues. That's why we need to build relationships with other jail administrators around us to maybe be able to house other inmates for us if we get into that type of crunch. But without being able to classify those inmates inside the jail, it increases liability for the county and the danger to those inmates.
Thank you very much. Question number 3, this goes back to Mr. Cavins. What plans do you have for transparency and to build a more positive relationship between the community and law enforcement?
Well, my campaign was built on transparency, and I'm not connected or tied to any prior administrations with that. So, good leadership and moving the department in a forward direction. We'll only do news releases that the law allows, of course, with any case as far as transparency goes. But open the shades, open up the black box out there that nobody's seen over the last couple of years, and let the public see what's going on.
Thank you, sir. Don't let me cut anyone off if you take a breath to get to your next thought, okay? All right, Mr. Hurley, what plans do you have for transparency to build a more positive relationship between the community and law enforcement?
In my career, I have been an open book. Anyone that knows me knows that I'm an opinionated person. I'm the type of person that if I tell you something, you can take it to the bank. Sometimes I may tell you what you don't want to hear, but I would rather tell you that up front and us have an adult conversation about that than you feel like I told you something you might want to hear and then later feel like I lied to you. So everything I do is going to be transparent. Now, when officers do something right, guess what? I'm going to brag on it. But if they do something wrong, just as I have in the past, I have prosecuted officers for violating the badge. I've done that on multiple occasions. And if you tarnish the badge, you will suffer the consequences for that. I feel that law enforcement needs to hold itself to the high standard as possible. And we have to do that day in, day out. Sometimes that's making hard decisions. And I'm willing to make those hard decisions. But like I said, when officers are doing something good, I think we need to brag on them. That needs to be put out on social media, saying officers are out in the community. I don't know that I necessarily agree with having a single community interaction officer. I think every one of our deputies should be that community interaction officer. I think that our SROs do a phenomenal job of interacting with the students out in these schools. They feel comfortable enough with them. They'll go and tell them stuff that they might not tell their own parents. And I'm proud of that.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Shrout, what plans do you have for transparency and to build a more positive relationship between the community and law enforcement?
Thank you, Brian. I have been working there and actively still working there. I am transparent all day long. I have an open door policy. I currently deal with the public on a regular basis. I have invited individuals within the facility. We've had programs. I've invited just about every one of the commissioners to come to the facility as well to see what we're doing on a daily basis so that they do have an understanding for that. I do think that we should be more positive on showing the good things that is going on at the sheriff's office. I have been involved with the Blue Line Christmas for 8 years. Been involved with the community, helping the community with the children of the community and the families as well. That's near and dear to my heart. I've been that little boy that didn't have anything, so I'm fully understanding of that. So as far as being transparent, I think we should be pushing the positive issue out to the public and having a good public relation. And again, I deal with those daily as they come into the sheriff's office.
Thank you, sir. Next question goes to Mr. Hurley. This is question number 4. What's your position on flock camera usage in general and in Claiborne County?
I am conflicted to start as far as those flock cameras goes. Is there anyone here that's not familiar with what those are? I can do a 10-minute or a 10-second little spiel. Basically, they're a camera that is mounted on poles at different areas around the county that is recording driver's license or those registration of your tags as you drive by those. And what they do is they do searches on those to check for stolen vehicles, wanted people, things of that nature. So every time I drive by one, whether it be down Highway 63, 25 East Springville, I think we've got about 6 of those in the county. Is that correct?
I think we have 4 that I'm familiar with.
Okay. I know we got one in one of the apartment complexes near my home. I know one of the big concerns on that is the Fourth Amendment. I'm a huge supporter of the Fourth Amendment. I think that we have a right to be secure in all persons of our homes, but when we're out in the general public, we don't have an expectation of privacy. So what that looks like is, do the risks outweigh the benefits? I know that there have been officers, I see it constantly on my phone, officers who have violated uses of those because there's usernames and passwords. So every time an officer queries or searches something in that, there is a record of that, and they will audit those. And if there are things that are out of the normal, they will conduct an internal investigation. And like I said, if I had an officer who violated the law by using those, they would be under penalty of, based on how egregious that violation was. So I'm honestly conflicted about those. I think there are good things about that. They can put it out like an Amber Alert. If you drove by that and that tag is flagged, that would be a good way to give officers a general area to go to try to locate that child. So there are good and bad sides to it.
Thank you, sir. Question number 4 to Mr. Stroud. What is your position on flock camera usage in general and in Claiborne County?
Excuse me. I think that the flock cameras are a wonderful system, and if anyone out here has ever experienced a alert on your telephone that may go off, whether it's a silver alert, whether it's a child Amber Alert, those things are what is key and important. There can be misuse, and again, I understand that as well, and there should be punishment for that as well for those individuals. Those are all logged and all that data is collected. However, I think that the flock cameras are a wonderful thing. I have worked cases where I have had missing adults that were suffering from dementia or Alzheimer's, and it's very sad when you cannot locate them. Where simply if you would have had the flock camera, there was a high possibility it may have picked them up and give you a general area or direction of where they may have been.
Thank you very much. Mr. Cavins, what is your position on flock camera usage in general and in Claiborne County?
Well, I think with any of that technology like that, we have to use caution. The policy has to be set forth and a tone has to be set with those flock cameras. Yes, they do capture tags. Yes, they could come in handy if one of your loved ones are missing, your mom, your dad, somebody has a silver alert or an Amber Alert to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, stolen vehicle, a kidnapped child, but who has access to it in the department? How long is the retention of the data? What is the company driving with that? Why is that? What is the idea behind retaining that information for so long? And then, of course, there's always the expectation of privacy and overreach or infringement of our Fourth Amendment. But on the AI part of it, on the face recognition part, that one I would think would be need to be a little bit more cautious on that one to make sure that on the face recognition part that we don't on retention time not misuse people tracking people that are not supposed to. So I think on the flock cameras it's a good tool for law enforcement.
Thank you very much. Next question. This one's going to Mr. Shroud. Your department is a gear, a very big machine. The office is a very integral part. How can you guarantee the cases you bring to a prosecutor have been fully investigated correctly?
That would fall into the lines of proper training for the officers. The proper training in the schools that they can attend, followed up by someone inside that can overlook and put a second set of eyes on an investigation behind that individual that conducts that investigation initially, so that it's more or less proofread. And again, you run into technology, it's a great thing, but again, gumshoe work and getting out there and talking to folks on investigations is key. You make contacts, you get reports, you gather evidence, and again, technology is great, but I think that the door knocking and speaking to folks in the community and the neighbors and such are a great investigative tool. And I think that pushes for a better investigation rather than just depending on something electronic.
All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Kevins, you're up next. Your department is a gear and a very big machine. How can you guarantee the cases you bring to a prosecutor have been fully investigated correctly?
What was the part of the question?
Did I say it too fast? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a what?
I tend to talk. Your department is a gear and a big machine. How can you guarantee that cases you bring to a prosecutor have been fully investigated correctly?
Well, I assume if it's anything internally, it would be an investigation. It would be outsourced to a third party as far as the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. And the Sheriff's Department should cooperate and not jeopardize the integrity of the case and let them work diligently through that. And we should be transparent with the, if something happens in the jail, be transparent with the community and release that information that is lawfully allowed under the directions of our district attorney office, who I have a good rapport with. So.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Hurley, your department is a gear and a big machine. How can you guarantee that cases you bring to a prosecutor have been fully investigated correctly?
I think that goes back to your chain of command being established in your agency, where you'd start out with your, for the patrol side, would be patrol officers, and you're going to have a shift supervisor, then a patrol lieutenant, and then also go on up from there. Each shift will work as a team. So if you're on one of the day shifts, you're going to work with those same officers day in, day out. You have to trust your fellow officers that if I'm working a case and I get to the point where I think I may have enough probable cause to be able to write that warrant, have a conversation with a coworker, with your immediate supervisor, and in a lot of cases, our district attorney's office is more than willing for officers to approach them with an active case and say, hey, do you think I have enough here for a positive prosecutable case? And if it hasn't rose to that level, then we got to go out and do a little bit more work. There are certain solvability factors in every single case. If you aren't getting those solvability factors, then you're going to have to do more work or wait for more information to come to light. But having a great working relationship with our district attorneys is paramount in that, because they're ultimately going to be the ones to decide whether or not that case is going to move forward in court. And if you have officers who continually put forth bad cases, there's potential they can end up on the Brady bill, which means, or the Brady list, which means if an officer has given inconsistent testimony in cases, basically they are prevented from being able to testify in court. And if they give false information, the prosecutor has to divulge that to any defense attorney that is representing their client that they may have charged with a crime.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kavins, question number 6 starts out with you. How do you, working with the jail administrator, implement continued or improved safeguards for inmates and staff alike at the jail?
Well, I would be the jail administrator. We would always need to make sure that we're always in compliance with state inspections. We would always need to make sure that we're up to date on our training. If there's somebody coming in to booking, do we need to do any preventative measures that we can take with that to prevent an in-custody death or some kind of crisis inside of the jail? So there's a lot of things that could be looked at on how to prevent a lot of things inside the jail from happening.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hurley, how do you, working with the jail administrator, implement continued or improved safeguards for inmates and staff alike at the jail?
That's a huge challenge for any sheriff, any of the 95 sheriffs in Tennessee, is operating in the jail. We have a workhouse, so that means that our inmates are allowed to go out and work outside of the jail. But training is paramount. Anything that has to do with law enforcement, training is going to be paramount. You can't put these COs in a situation where they're not comfortable doing that job. So what that means is provide them with the ample training they need to be able to be comfortable in that environment. Just because someone's arrested doesn't mean their civil rights goes out the window. Once they go into that jail, they are still afforded the same civil rights that they are allowed to have as a general person in the public. So everyone has to be treated with respect. When I worked in the jail up here, like I said, on the weekends when we had 80 inmates in a 33-bed jail, I survived because those inmates respected me, because I treated them all like a human being. So with that being said, if you have issues, identify those, find out what the failure was, and once you identify that failure, make a forward movement to fix that issue. Deliberate indifference is the level that will get the county sued. That means you know you have an issue and you chose not to do anything about it. So once you identify that issue, do something to fix it. And don't whitewash those type of situations, because that benefits no one.
Thank you. Mr. Shroud, how do you, working with someone like you, implement continued or improved safeguards for inmates and staff alike at the jail?
That's a very great question. We implement training. I know of anyone in this room that can dictate when someone is going to pass away. I would make that statement. We work diligently with the inmates. We have, in the last 4 years, worked with TCI in great effort to make our facility an accredited facility. We are a Tier 1 facility, and I have applied for Tier 2, in which we have been accepted. What that means is it basically takes you a greater level than a county jail. With the workhouse included, you're going to face issues, folks. You are going to face issues, I promise you. The sheriff takes the biggest burden from the jailhouse. We run a $7.7 million budget at the sheriff's office. 4.4 of that comes from the jail. Now, what we have done by becoming a tier facility is we are creating monies that goes back into the General 101 fund, which I'm very proud of. I'm very proud of our department. I'm very proud of our workers. We struggle daily. However, we have overcome a lot of obstacles, especially since I have taken over that facility in the last 4 years. I have proven that within that facility, and I'm very proud of that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right, so we're going to ask Mr. Hurley the next question. This is about staffing and retention. Staffing and retention. Law enforcement nationwide struggles in recruiting and retaining qualified deputies. What would you do to attract, train, and keep experienced personnel in the Claiborne County Sheriff's Office?
That has definitely been an issue, and even this week I was notified that we lost 2 patrol officers. One of them decided to change careers, another one's going to one of the local cities. Right now our patrol division at the Sheriff's Office is down 20%, which means of the 20 police officers that are paid slots there, we're missing 4 of those. Now they do have some officers who are in the police academy right now getting trained. We hope they make it. I hope those 3 that are still there do graduate. But the biggest challenge is the culture that you build there. If people feel appreciated, they're going to look forward to coming to work. They're going to build good relationships with their coworkers. They're going to build good relationships with the community. What's that look like? When you build culture, you want people to feel appreciated day in, day out for what they're doing, and just not looking at them as a number in a pay slot, because that is a real human. That is a person who has a family, who has things going on in their personal life. I think addressing the mental health issue is huge with law enforcement. It's always been a stigma that if you're having mental health issues, that you just bury that down deep and may even attempt to self-medicate, and that's a failure of our leadership in law enforcement across the nation. We need to be able to identify those officers when they're struggling, give them services, even have those one-on-one conversations with them. Look, I know you're having a tough time. Is it going to help you to take this weekend off, spend some time with your family? And I, Sheriff, because I've done it as a patrol lieutenant, I'll go out and work shifts. I've done it as a patrol lieutenant. I went out and worked even shifts voluntarily as an administrative person. I'm no better than anyone
Mr. Stroud, staffing and retention is the question. Law enforcement nationwide struggles in recruiting and retaining qualified deputies. What would you do to attract, train, and keep experienced personnel in the Claiborne County Sheriff's Office?
Staffing and retention is a huge problem. It's not only for Claiborne County, folks. It's all over the United States. No one wants to be an officer nowadays. They are faced with so much. It is absolutely ridiculous. You never can do any good, and that's one of the things that I have noticed is that people will only find the bad things that happen with officers. There are so much good things that happen that's not put out there. As far as the retention rate goes, it is very tough to keep people. I can tell you that firsthand. And it is not for everyone. And I tell people through the hiring process, when I speak to them in an interview, I simply tell them, folks, this may not be for you, okay? And I tell them plainly that if in a few days you don't understand, and I've got some sitting in the audience this evening, but if you don't understand or think that you're going to be able to handle this job, please come to me, and I tell them that. And believe it or not, I've had some folks that's come to me, and I'm not going to hold that against them because that job is not for everyone. It simply is not. But I think that pushing with the fundage for higher training and keeping that morale built is where it's at. I know that pay has always been a struggle. I know that we originally, 4 years ago, were starting at $12.19 an hour for a correctional officer. Folks, that is sad. We have since gotten it up, and I'm very proud of that as well, and working with the commission and through a lot of the grants that I have done and where we have been able to turn monies back into the General 101 fund, we have been able to build them back up to $15.91 an hour as a certified correctional officer, and I'm very proud of that. But I would like to see that continue.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Cavins, law enforcement nationwide struggles in recruiting and retaining qualified deputies. What would you do to attract, train, and keep experienced personnel in the Claiborne County Sheriff's Office?
Well, competitive pay has to be a direct correlation between retention. So this Sheriff's Department has been a bridge for some time to our local municipalities here. So we train them, we send them to the academy, and then when they get ready to go, our cities grab them all for a few extra dollars as was noted here earlier. We lost 2 this week. We lost a great detective a couple of weeks ago. He's a very intelligent individual. But I think at some time that this governing body, somebody would have to be a spokesperson, the sheriff, to come up here and present and have an honest conversation with all the department heads on bringing up pay for our county employees. That's the only thing that's going to keep us here. We train them, we get them there, they're good employees, but we can't hold on to them. So we recruit them, but we got to hold on to them, and it's directly related to pay.
Thank you, sir. We're getting close to wrapping this up. We will go next with Mr. Stroud. Budget management. Budget management. If elected, how would you ensure taxpayer dollars are spent responsibly while maintaining effective law enforcement services?
That's a great question. And absolutely, currently, I am already doing that as far as the budget goes on my end of things as jail administrator. I do not deal with the sheriff's office budget side of things. And again, that's a $4.4 million budget. Actively with the grants that we do, we have been so successful with turning monies back into our General 101 that actually helps handle our budget for the fiscal year here in our county. Those things are very tough. You have to have a mindful eye. The Tier 1 accreditation that I had spoken about and looking into the Tier 2 brings additional monies in for state inmates that we house, not federal, state inmates that we house at our facility. Will generate, after Tier 2 level, around $1.2 million for the average of state inmates that we keep. I think that's great. I think we've done a great job on that aspect, and I think that we can keep moving forward with that. And I would like to absolutely see a grant writer within our facility, not for the county. That's been tried twice. I would like to see one within the sheriff's office itself Those grants are wonderful. That is taxpayer-free money for our county.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Cavins, if elected, how would you ensure taxpayer dollars are spent responsibly while maintaining effective law enforcement services?
Repeat that question.
Okay. If elected, how would you ensure that taxpayer dollars are spent responsibly while maintaining effective law enforcement services?
Well, I have a little bit of experience. Pam and I own a small rental business, and I was a contractor on that, managing our own budget. Knowing how to squeeze a dollar pinch bikini, a lot of people tell you I squeeze when I walk, but that's important. But we can't put public safety. It has to be first, no matter what. So, and I would also like to say on the Tier 1 accreditation, I would commend Brooke and Bailey. They work out of the mayor's office here on a grant, but they have an office over there at the jail. So they are the ones that do the medical, the evidence-based practices with our inmates, and that safe cuts down. So there's 2 or 4 social workers over there now. So they don't work for the sheriff, for the workhouse or for the jail side of it. They work here at the mayor's office, but have an office over there. So Brooke and Bailey do a really good job, and I think there's a couple more guys on there.
Thank you very much. Mr. Hurley, if elected, how would you ensure taxpayer dollars are spent responsibly while maintaining effective law enforcement services?
Unfortunately, everything is getting more expensive nowadays. I mean, we all feel it in our pocketbook every single month. But I would look at it as I'm not spending my money, I'm spending the county taxpayers' money. I would cut down on wasteful things such as, one of the things I would take a hard look at is the amount of detectives that we have at CID. For the county that we have, 30,000 people here, I think we're slated for 10 detectives. Hopkins County has a larger population and they have 4 detectives. So that's something I would definitely look at, is maybe modifying some assignments, maybe even cut out some positions and reallocate money to a fewer select group of people, but they're going to have to earn that pay. I dealt with budgeting when I was a patrol lieutenant. I worked with installing all the emergency equipment in the vehicle, stuff like that. So I'm well versed in the purchase order process and budgeting that money. And I've never been a wasteful person. I was born poor. I'll probably die poor. But I'm going to be the type of person that I'm going to try to get as much service out of every single dollar as possible for our county taxpayers. How many people here have seen patrol cars sitting idling and nobody around them? That was always a pet peeve of mine. If that officer's outside that car, unless there's a K9 in there or a good reason, that car needs to be turned off. I mean, we don't do that with our personal vehicles. We shouldn't be doing it with county tax funds. And it would be things like that that I would take a hard look at.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we're actually going to get in all 10 questions that I had planned, even though I said there'd be 8. What plans do you have to fight the drug problem, including overdoses that may not have been used in the past? This question is going to Mr. Cavins first. Once again, what plans do you have to fight the drug problem, including overdoses that may not have been used in the past?
Well, I think there's a couple of different conversations with that, and with the drug problem here, it has to start with interdiction. That's out on our main corridors, on our main arteries, on our main highways. So we have to be more out there as a deterrent. And with the local dealer here, we have to cut the head off that snake. And if they're a repeated offender, we have to keep on and on and on about that. And the other conversation would be either the addict or the substance abuse user. There's a couple of things with that. If we're talking about alcoholism, we're talking about sobriety. If we're talking about addiction, we're talking about connection. So we have to make sure that we have to walk on that cautiously, step by step, that those people are connected back into the environment, back to their family, back to a job. That's very important, and we have to make sure that when they leave from that jail, that any resources available with that, they have to be made aware so that we can reduce recidivism if we can, at any cost. But there's another thing that's a good idea that I don't know if it can happen or not, but I'm going to take a chance at it if elected, that we can create a Claiborne County Drug Task Force, and we can get our municipalities on board and give them a hand in the poker game too, and Newcastle's drug problem is the county's problem. The county's problem out in the county is Tazewell and Newcastle's problem. So I think that we can all work together and collaborate on that, and it'll work out well.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hurley, what plans do you have to fight the drug problem, including overdoses that may not have been used in the past?
What I know for a fact works is utilizing confidential informants. I know that works for a fact. Now, interdiction, you're going out and sitting on the highway and you're looking for indicators from a vehicle that someone may be hauling something. What happens when they get home with it? What happens when we miss that car? We have to have that two-pronged approach to that. Once they get to the residence or where they're dealing at up out of, we have to have people that are not law enforcement. We live in a county, 30,000 people. You all probably know most every police officer here. So we have to utilize people who are confidential informants to go and make those controlled drug buys. That has been proven time and time again to be effective in small communities. Now, would I love to have officers that could go out and individually buy drugs off people? Absolutely, but the likelihood that's going to happen here is really, really low. The issues we're having now is we're dealing with heroin and fentanyl. Now, when I first started, we had a few paint pills, some marijuana, random cocaine, and then the opioid epidemic hit, which paralyzed Claiborne County. We fought through it, and now we moved on from the methamphetamine now to the heroin, and that's why we're having so many drug overdoses now, is because you've got these drug addicts who have found something that is more affordable. But the problem is they went from an upper, which increases your heart rate, respiratory rate, to a downer in heroin and fentanyl. And unfortunately, when they shoot those drugs up, a lot of times their heart stops. So there's got to be education out there. Thank goodness we have things like the education inside the jail where they identify what their issues are and try to mitigate those with those people. We're treating mental health as a violation of law. That is a health issue. So I think that's another problem we need to look at, is fixing the mental health issue, and it will reduce that recidivism and those overdoses.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Shroud, what plans do you have to fight the drug problem, including overdoses that may not have been used in the past?
As far as fighting the drug problem, I have one message for the individuals in Claiborne County. If you are dealing drugs in this county, if elected, we will operate a thorough investigation. We will utilize the interdiction part to cut the head off of the snake of the highways to stop that from getting into our community. We will reach out and work and patrol the back roads. This is where all the crime is being committed. This is where your small-time dealers are running. This is where you gain your confidential informants. My message to you is simply this. We will do a thorough investigation. We will come to your house. We are going to execute a search warrant. We will kick your door in. We will set you down outside, and we are going to video you and show the folks of this county who you are and what location we're at, and then we're going to plant a nice little sign in your yard that says drug house rated by the Claiborne County Sheriff's Office. Those are some of the things that I'm going to stand by for our county. This is affecting everyone. As far as our facility, we are doing wonderful things with the rehabilitation and the recidivism that comes from our jail. Now, those are hardcore things. They're being fought daily at our facility. They're being offered. The rehabilitative part is being offered to individuals. However, you cannot give it to individuals if they do not want the change, folks. You cannot make a change if they do not want the change. Mental health is a separate animal. I do know that through the Sheriff's Association meeting that in the eastern part and western part, the governor had been pushing very hard to have mental health facilities built, one in eastern and one in western Tennessee. And I think that that is wonderful, and I cannot wait until they get that, because you do not realize the people that come into our facility that face mental health and they choose to go to drugs because they don't have insurance and they self-medicate.
Thank you, sir. All right, before our conclusion, we have one question left. And this one will go to Mr. Hurley, do you feel that under your direction, your department would have a good working relationship with other area law enforcement and first responders alike?
Absolutely. I started my law enforcement career with Gary Skasky, who is currently the chief of police at New Tazewell. Jeremy Myers started his career down in Knoxville, and then he came and worked in the sheriff's department with me. So I've had a good working relationship with both those. I speak to both of those quite often. We have good working relationships. I think that's going to be paramount as far as sharing information, because the same people that are committing crimes inside those city limits are also going out into the county also committing crimes. I want to open up more rapport with them. I'd love to be able to, we used to train together all the time. Whenever I was the director of training, I would actually host the in-service where all the officers in the county, we would come together. It was a great networking opportunity, and now for the past several years, they've been doing online training individually, and if you've ever done online training, there's very little benefit to that. But being able to get together with those other officers, build some communication between them, the trust, because sometimes you have officers who work opposite shifts and they don't really get to interact very much, but they get some opportunity to do that. And I would feel confident that if I picked up the phone and called those chiefs of police, and I also have a good working relationship with the lieutenant at Lincoln Memorial University Police Department. He's a personal friend. So I feel like that's going to be effective in being able to help solve crimes all across Claiborne County.
Thank you very much. Mr. Schraub, do you feel that under your direction, your department would have a good working relationship with other area law enforcement and first responders alike?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brian. Again, the work relation that I've had in my 20-year experience has been great. I've seen a lot of growth in that area, and I think that you must, it's not a guessing game, it's a must to have good working relations with your city police departments. You want good MOUs outside of our area with federal departments as well. That is a memorandum of understanding. That includes putting officers in your facility to work federally, as I did as well. You will have a great network in that way. You will also see a greater prosecution than you will on the state side. Minimum mandatory on federal charge is 5 years at 85%. That's a minimum standard. So again, pushing those things with other departments are great, as well as reaching out to your federal agencies as well. And I think that we need that back here within our county so that we can be effective.
Thank you, sir. And finally, Mr. Cavins, do you feel that under your direction, your department would have a good working relationship with other area law enforcement and first responders alike?
Sure. Well, my current employment with the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency is already a sister partner of any of our local departments, even though on paper my primary assignment is here at Claiborne. At times, what is referred to as an on-call night, so 2 nights a month, I'm responsible for 11 counties. So I hope that I have a good working relationship. If not, I'll be caught off guard in those other counties. But when we dealt with the natural disaster over in Hancock County last year, you got to know how it all operates with the command staff, with our emergency management director, David Breeden, and some hands-on practical training scenarios throughout here and there with each other and agency. I'm sure it would create a much stronger relationship. I know that there's been a little disconnect on radio communication where some agencies feel left out, but maybe we can reconnect that too and establish that relationship.
Okay. All right. Each of you now has 2 minutes. These 2 minutes are for you to challenge people to think about voting for you. We'll give you that 2 minutes in just a second. Again, I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who's been here, those that are online as well, and I want to say thank you to the mayor for allowing me again to use this facility. All right, so the first person to speak is going to be in order of the last question, and we're going with Mr. Cavins. The next 2 minutes is yours to let the voters know why they should choose you for Claiborne County Sheriff.
Well, thank you again for everybody coming out. Thank you for the ones that are watching online, and thank you to the ones that have supported my campaign. But with all that being said, educate yourself on each one of us. I respect their service. I respect what they do here in this county. Look at who can bring you the most change on who you're voting for. I have a fresh, independent leadership that I'll bring to that department. I'm not tied to any current or past administration. I'm not part of that good old buddy system. I'm not going in there and say because you worked here and we've done this or we've done that together that you're going to be promoted. It's going to be strictly on merit and how you serve the people of this county. And you know, there's a long ways to go. I'm not going to be perfect, but I'll learn as I go. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hurley, you have 2 minutes. It's yours to let the voters know why you should be chosen for Claiborne County Sheriff.
First of all, I'd like to say I appreciate everyone who has supported me through my campaign. The encouraging words that you said to me, I honestly do appreciate. I feel like that I'm the best candidate for this because of my ability to manage people. As sheriff, you're not necessarily going to be a lawman anymore. You're going to have to be able to manage people, whether that be employees, inmates, or situations out in the county that I'm going to serve. I feel like that, like I said before, I'm an open book. I'm the kind of person that, I'm not going to say I have an open door policy. I'm going to be accessible 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just like I was when I was a lieutenant. I was on call 24/7. I will be as your sheriff. If you need something, reach out to me and I'll do everything I can to help. Now I know one of my opponents here likes to harp on the fact that, yeah, I did work for a previous sheriff who was indicted. Well, I was a state's witness against him because I did not agree with those things that went on. And you need to research and see who his actions were about. So, with that being said, I'm not going to provide special favors for anyone. You're going to be able to approach me, and I'm going to look at each individual situation independently, and I'm going to be able to decide independently how that situation needs to be handled to the best of my ability. Keep up the laws of the state of Tennessee in mind, and do the best I can for everyone in this county. No special favors.
Thank you. Did you want to rebut that, Mr. Gaddis?
Well, I just want to say that, you know, they throw their resumes out here and they talk about what all they've done. They've been in these leadership roles, and now they want to talk about what all they want to do good for you all. They've had an opportunity to do that for you all. In the last 20 years, they want to tell you that over and over. Do your research. Educate yourself. Educate yourself on who's the taxpayer up here. Educate yourself about that. Go to Kim Reese's office and pull those documentations. Go pull them and see who contributes the poker chips to the game. All right? And I don't have any ties to any previous or past or current administrations. So if I'm elected, it'll be new eyes, new ideals.
Before Mr. Schropp speaks,
Wait, can I say one thing?
You can. You have time.
On Saturday, July 11th, I'll have my 7th meet and greet. I have made myself available to you and the people across this county. Don't go early vote on July the 17th and not know who you're going to vote for. So on July the 11th, this Saturday, at the Harrogate Plant Produce, I'll have another meet and greet, and it'll be from 11 to 1. I encourage you to come out. Bring your family.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hurley, before Mr. Schropp speaks, would you like to rebut any of that for one moment?
No, I said my piece.
Okay. Mr. Schropp, you have 2 minutes, but we will also give you a third if you would like to rebut that statement, since the gentleman said they.
Thank you. Again, I just come to you humbly, asking for your support for this election. I have given my last 20 years of hard work to the citizens of this county. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears. I've educated myself along the way. I have been through different administrations. That is absolutely correct. I have seen the good. I have seen the bad. I am an individual. I am not held accountable to no one except for the good Lord. Now, I come to you for your support, and those that have supported me, I appreciate you greatly. And I wish the best to both of these candidates. I don't think that an individual can state that they're tied to someone. I'm not stating that someone's tied to someone. The only thing that I can say is exactly what was said up here. You can absolutely look and see who is supportive of who, okay? I don't do this for a title. I'm not doing this for money. I've never had money. I don't care about money. I want happiness, and I want the safety for this community. I want the safety for the people, and I hold that dear to my heart. So I would respectfully ask you for your support as sheriff in Claiborne County.
Thank you, sir. All right, we've come to the end of this debate. We have a meet and greet coming up Thursday for non-debate candidates. It will be at 7 p.m. in this very room. First come, first serve, so to speak. We'll give you 5 to 7 minutes to say your piece. Before we go, I always ask a question of anyone I do a debate with. Mr. Cavins, do you feel like you were treated fairly by the moderator? Being me.
I was going to say that was first before I answered.
Okay.
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. All right. Do you feel that I treated you fairly, Mr. Hurley?
Absolutely, and I appreciate you doing this.
You're welcome. Mr. Schraub, do you feel that I treated you fairly?
Yes, sir, I do, and thank you all, and thank everyone for coming out. Thank you.
All right. This has been the debate for the mayor's race and the sheriff's race. Thank you for coming out and being part of this. I want to say thank you to Porter's Home Connection for sponsoring this, as well as Complete Comfort, your Norris Do-It-Right specialist.
When you want your heating and cooling done right the first time, you need to call Norris Lake's Do It Right Specialist. It's Complete Comfort Heating and Cooling.
I am just a phone call away.
I am focused on getting the job done right the first time.
I am committed to treating your home like my own.
I'm dedicated to keeping your summers cool and your winters cozy.
We are your Norris Lake Do It Right Specialist.
606-248-5665.
Hi, I'm Jim Fortner, owner of Fortner's Home Connection. We're your hometown source for appliances, bedding, furniture, recliners, and lift chairs, with all the brand names you could ever hope for and prices you will not believe. Come out and see us at Fortner's Home Connection, 2801 U.S. Highway 25 across from Casey's in the old Sears building. Come on and let me give you the red carpet treatment that you should be getting already. Come see me at Fortner's Home Connection.